to my channel. Today we have 3 recipes. With the holidays, with the New Year's coming up, I thought it would be really fun to share 3 fun appetizers that are super simple and easy to throw together, so that if you're having a holiday party, if you are going to a holiday party and need to bring something, you can bring something delicious and everybody will be like, oh my gosh, these are so good, where'd you get the recipe? And then you'll be like, oh, from the Toasted Pine Nut, she's great. And I'm like, me? In my opinion, one of the greatest feelings is when you bring a good dish to a potluck or have people come over to a spread of delicious food and they just rave about it. So I want you to be that person. I want you to have a good appetizer spread situation happening. So that is what we're doing today. 3 delicious, fun appetizers that you are gonna love and everybody's gonna love them. They're delicious. So the first recipe is going to be Brie Cups with a little jelly in there. We're using an almond flour pie crust that I use for quiches and pies, and now we're just making them mini. We're gonna put a little bit of homemade jam inside with a little chunk of brie, pop them in the oven, and they are gonna melt and get gooey and delicious, but still have that jelly jam sweetness at the bottom. They are so good, totally a party favorite. The next we are making party meatballs. I personally love just a toothpick with a meatball on it that I can pop and just have a plate full of meatballs. They're fun, they're delicious, they're sweet, and they just put a smile on your face. It's one of those recipes that's guaranteed to be a crowd pleaser, because who doesn't love meatballs? Like, everybody loves meatballs, unless you're a vegetarian or a vegan, and then maybe skip this one. The final recipe is my favorite dip of all time. It's an easy, simple baba ganoush kind of dip. Baba Ghanoush, baba ganoush, baba ganoush. It's eggplant, it's red pepper. It's so simple to just roast up in the oven, throw in your food processor, and make into a delicious dip. So, if you're liking the sound of these recipes, hit that thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe, because I never want you to miss a recipe video. And without further ado, let's get into our 3 party appetizers.
Alright, so we're starting off by making the crusts. So we have 4 tablespoons of butter. You can just melt it in the microwave. And then we're adding 2 eggs, whisk that together. And then you're adding almond flour. I was out of almond flour at the store. I was so bummed. I had to use oat flour. I would not recommend it because I felt like the crusts got a little bit dry, but they worked. I definitely recommend almond flour. So I also added sea salt to the mix and chilled it, and now I'm just pressing them into little mini muffin tins. It's a good idea to line the muffin tins if you don't have silicone, and then you're gonna bake it for about 10 minutes until they get golden brown. While the crusts are baking, get started on the jam. Put 1 cup of frozen berries into a pot over medium-high heat. You could use strawberries, I'm using raspberries, some water, and just let that go until it reduces a bit. You can also add a couple tablespoons of agave nectar or honey or maple syrup. It's gonna thicken up like jam, and once those crusts come out of the oven, you just wanna put a nice little dollop of that jam into it, cut off little chunks of brie, and place that into the center right on top of the jam. And then you just pop that in the oven for another few minutes until the brie gets nice and melty, and then you can remove them. I like to peel off the muffin liners before I serve them, but you can totally leave them on. The last step is just sprinkling some thyme leaves or some chopped rosemary on top, and then you take a bite and they are so delicious, creamy and sweet and flaky with the crust, and they're so good. Alright, moving on to those sweet cranberry orange meatballs. We're just adding a couple tablespoons of olive oil to a pot, and then we're adding half of our onion and a garlic clove. We're gonna cook that until they get nice and golden brown, and then we're going to transfer it to our bowl and make our meatball mixture. So add all of the onions and garlic mixture to the bowl, add your ground turkey. We're also gonna crack an egg right into the bowl, add 1/4 a cup of almond flour, some salt and pepper, and then you just wanna fold these ingredients all together until it is nice and combined. Use a cookie scooper to scoop, I made about 20 meatballs onto a lined baking sheet, and then you're gonna bake them for 20 minutes at 350 until they are white and they appear cooked completely through. I just went in with my fingers to make sure there was no edges sticking out of the meatballs, and then I baked them. So now in our measuring cup, we have our cranberry juice. I went for unsweetened cranberry juice and I'm just whisking in the arrowroot flour. We're gonna set that aside. All right, so to a large pot, we're just adding a couple tablespoons of olive oil, adding in the other half of that onion that we chopped up. We're gonna whisk this and cook this for about 5 minutes. It's gonna turn golden brown. And then we add that cranberry juice mixture, some orange juice, some tomato sauce, some agave nectar. You could use honey or maple syrup. And then once it's reduced a bit and totally bubbling, you can add those cooked meatballs back to the pot, and you're gonna toss them all together, get them nice and coated. And there you have it. I'm telling you guys, my kids loved these. I like to serve them just on a plate. You could also put them on a bowl and just put some toothpicks in so people can grab them and take them. They are so good. It's like a sweet and sour sauce. It is absolutely delish. And lastly, we're making my favorite baba ganoush. So we're gonna cut up an eggplant. You want to cut them into rounds like I'm doing, and then you're going to pile up those rounds and cut them into little cubes about 1/2 inch to 1 inch wide. It doesn't have to be perfect because they're gonna go in the food processor later. So just roughly cut them up so that you can roast them. Cut the pepper too. I just keep these in pretty big chunks. You could make them into smaller chunks, and then I just like to rinse out any extra seeds. Then you want to transfer all of this onto a lined baking sheet, drizzle it with some olive oil, and just use your hands to go in there and toss everything together. We are gonna roast this at 400 for 40 minutes until they are deliciously charred and golden brown like so. Then you transfer them to your food processor. We are also adding in a garlic clove, pine nuts, a sprinkle of sea salt, and a little agave nectar for some sweetness. Honey or maple syrup totally works. And then we're just going to process it. In this video, I only had 1 red pepper, but I recommend 2 red peppers and 1 eggplant. And that is the consistency I like. You could keep going to make it a little bit more smooth, but I like it a little chunky. So that is that. I put it into a bowl, only got a little bit on the counter, no big deal. I like to serve this up with a drizzle of olive oil. Some roasted garlic cloves or toasted pine nuts make a really beautiful garnish. I only had tortilla chips to do the taste test, so it looks weird, but such is life.
Alright guys, there you have it. 3 party appetizers. I hope you make them. I hope you love them. I hope your guests love them. Anyway, if you make these recipes, please let me know. I would love to hear how they turn out. And if you like this video, please hit that thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe because I would love for you to be a part of my YouTube fam. I am Lindsay from thetoastedpinenut.com. Come find me on Instagram at thetoastedpinenut, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.